What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of East Knows Tar Heel Basketball. I'm East, and today we're bringing the breakdown between NC State and the North Carolina Tar Heels. Let's get right into it. NC State, they're 15-4 overall, 5-3 in the ACC, and they're ranked 6th in the ACC. Right above us, we're actually at 7th. So this is just an important game overall, and it's going to be a competitive game, but it's definitely, in my opinion, a must-win game. One for positioning in the ACC, two, looking ahead to Selection Sunday and just, having those good wins, those quality wins. And then three, for pride. It's important for pride. We're playing at home. We have, Coach Roy Williams hates NC State, so I hate NC State. And, I think everyone hates the puppy pack. So there's been a lot of trash talk between the football teams even. So it's definitely just a must win for pride and just to remind the bad team who really runs North Carolina. The rivalry's alive, and we're just gonna have to go in and take care of business. So let's get into this first matchup. Baycott will be matched up against 275-pound, 6'9" DJ Burns. He's a lefty. He's a big man, but he has a nice touch. He'll surprise you with some of his moves. I was actually really surprised watching these highlights of how good his left hand was, how good his touch was. He's using his body to get guys into a bad position, and then he just, has a nice touch. So it's going to be important for Baycott to stay clean on defense, to hold himself. I would recommend he take some charges, to be honest, but it's going to be very interesting to see how he does. But I think as long as he stays out of foul trouble and stays clean, he'll be able to get the stops. Baycott has the size. He's a bit more mobile than this guy, so I think it goes both ways. I think ultimately Baycott's going to get him into foul trouble. So yeah, and then it's also worth mentioning Pete's matchups, Mr. Gant and Ebenezer, and I think they're long and athletic. They don't score much, so it'll just be up for Pete to get them into foul trouble as well and score. Next matchup we're going to get into is RJ Davis's matchup. He's going to be matched up against a guy he's familiar with in KC Morcell. KC is 6'3". I believe he's more of a shooter than a slasher. But RJ has done a phenomenal job on him overall. I think in the last two games or the last two matchups from last season, RJ held him to, I think, 7 points in one game and then 4 points in the other. So yeah, I think this is a good matchup we should stick with. Next, we're going to get into Caleb Love's matchup. This is an interesting one because he's a new player. I'm not exactly even sure where he came from, if he's a transfer or if he's a senior. So he must be a transfer. He was on the team last year. He's averaging 16 points per game. He's the second leading scorer of the team. Last year, Caleb was actually guarding Smith, who we'll talk about later, but Smith lit him up. It's honest. So so I think this is going to work out a little bit better for us to put Jarkel Joyner, or let Caleb guard Jarkel Joyner. And he's longer, so hopefully Caleb can contain him. But as you can see here, he's a bucket getter. So we'll see how that matchup goes. Keep an eye on that. And the last matchup we're going to talk about is Mr. Leaky Black, our defensive specialist, taking on one of the top scorers in the ACC, Taquavion Smith. And Taquavion is just a phenomenal scorer. He lit us up, like I said, he lit Caleb Love up last season. So, and even with that, though, we still won. So, in my opinion, I think it's best to have those other matchups at the guard spots and then let Leaky take Smith. That way, he can use his long frame and arms and his defensive prowess to, one, just focus on defense, as he always does, and then two, make sure that Smith doesn't get hot, make sure he doesn't get warmed up, and then maybe that, takes them out of their offense a bit. So I think that's a good matchup for us, and I think it would just be the best thing for the team in general from a defensive standpoint to get those stops, because the kid, he can go. So we'll see how that matchup goes, and hopefully, I would prefer to see Leaky on him. If Caleb is on him, then hopefully Caleb can strap up. One thing about NC State is that they love to turn defense into offense. They're going to do full court pressure throughout the game. I wouldn't be surprised if they did full court pressure for the majority of the game and then switched it up a couple times to get some trap situations. As you can see here, thank God Baycott was there to get that block. But, that's what they want to do. They want to get the ball out of the point guard's hand. They're going to want to get it into someone's hand that's not comfortable so that we can't set up. And then, of course, they also want to get those steals and capitalize. And they execute off of the the steals very well. They execute off of turnovers very well. So execution is just their game, and they're playing fast, and that's a part of Kevin Key's system. I think I've had the opportunity to watch him coach since he was at Hargrave, since I was a young jit. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting, but it's a good thing, I think, for us, because we're used to playing against that type of speed in practices. We play that way, so therefore it's going to be familiar for us, and I think we play better against teams like NC State rather than a UVA just because of that, because we're so much used to it, and we're practicing again. It's going to be very important for guys like Seth Trimble and Dunn as well. Keep an eye on them as freshmen, as a sophomore, with more minutes. How do they respond to that pressure? So let's get into NC State's defensive values, which is, if I had to pick one word to describe their defense, it's disruption. They're disruptors. They like to just make it ugly. They like to pester you, and they're in every play. And the pressure doesn't just stop in the full court. They keep it going in the half court. Watch this play here. They switch ball to ball or guard to guard, and they do switches guard to guard on the wing a lot. And this play right here, they just want to mess it up, even though it's not a direct steal. They stopped everything. Here, you'll see the play get messed up. Even on defense, like when they're falling down, he's gonna fall down here, and he's gonna rotate. The man's gonna rotate. Someone else rotates to his, and they get it blocked, and that's just crazy. So no one wants to give up an offensive rebound, of course, but they were still in position to execute the possession. So I think that just shows how good they are. Here we're going to see them pick up into some full court action again, and it's just about pressuring, making it tough, making sure guys don't get set up, make sure they're staying out their sets. They kept the ball out of Roach's hands, which is of course what you want. So just the little things to waste some time on the clock is what they're looking for. I believe this play we're going to get to see that pick and roll action. They're going to get the ball over here. There's going to be a screen. They're going to play down, contain the man, go over top, and they just active hands to get the steal, and they're going the other way. And that's a great way to play the pick and roll. We actually use it as well. One thing that might be open for us is that corner shot. They don't rotate there the best. They play on the ball very well, but they mess up on that corner shot so good. All right, so let's get into some play sets here, and this play should look very familiar because we run the same exact play. There's going to be a screen here, mock screen. He's going to go out, set a pick and roll, boom, and then he's going to come back and get the ball. They're looking for the big, and they force feed their big if they can a lot, and we do the same thing with Baycott. So that was their way of running. Let's watch how Carolina runs it, the good way to run it. So ours would be a little bit different. Typically for them, Dunn would get the ball back here, but instead RJ is going to get it, but it's the same exact play action. Get the ball at the top of the key and get it to Baycott. And so here you'll just see how similar NC State and North Carolina are, but all of it starts with this play action here where there's a mock screen there at the free throw line, and then it goes right into a pick and roll, and then we get someone else the ball towards the middle, top of the key. Both teams like to work from the top of the key because it works, because one, you can get a jump shot from that situation, but you can also just be able to get an easy post pass right as long as that postman backs in. See, same as that play, pick and roll. Now, one thing about NC State is they're a little bit different just from the fact that, RJ and Caleb do it a little bit, but they really like to score quick off of these initial pick and rolls. You'll see there that pick, same play action, but he's just gunning. And RJ, you'll see RJ does the same thing here. We're going to get that foul line play, screen here, boom, goes into a pick and roll, and then he's just going to pull up even though Baycott was open. And you do have the threat of Caleb being open there for a jump shot or to slash. So there's a lot of options there. Same play here, boom, screen, pick and roll, and then he's just going to gun. And it's just crazy how quick they're getting that shot up. Same thing here. Oh no, actually, so here we're going to see a different set. They're going to do a little curl screen, double screen action, pick and roll though. So it goes to the same thing. Like I said, they like to work off the top of the key because of that post pass. So now they made that post pass, and they're just looking for that. And so here we get the post pass on the side, but now everything's going through the post, everything's top of the key, so that wing is open. So those are the little things you got to watch for in the second half. Here, what do we have? So now they just want to get the ball to their man so that he can get an early shot, start scoring a little bit early here. But it's just top of the key, pick and roll. And this is a terrible shot. It's a terrible shot, but it's in their offense. That's what they like to do. Here you'll see it again, pick and roll, top of the key. So they just, and we do the same. We love to work from that top of the key. I don't know what it is about that. Outside of the angle for the post, if he can, back that man deep into the paint. But I guess that's just prime area for one-on-one. To work from that position. Granted, I think that for us, maybe we could consider working from the wings a bit more, both for the post angle like this, but also just from a one-on-one standpoint, because those plays are the ones that make the help side have to adjust. Like this angle you see with that pass was available because Caleb didn't start in the middle, he attacked the middle. When you start from that wing and you attack the middle, the help side has to make a decision, and those types of passes are going to be available. So here at the freeze frame, you see a dribble handoff. It's going to go into a pick and roll situation. And this is called a transition play, so transition. And there they use theirs to get a post entry pass. It didn't convert, but it's a good, it does its job. Same thing here coming through. Dribble handoff. We're going to get a pick and roll situation with Baycott. And Caleb has the option to give it to Baycott or gives it to that corner man for that shot. Leaky has been knocking that down a little bit more this year, so hopefully that'll be open and he'll get comfortable making that. Same thing coming here, little transition play, dribble handoff, pick and roll, and then we will get different options because they know the play, so they have to play what they think is coming, but Puff is there for that easy jumper, so it's just a lot of good options from that set. Here we see a little set that is basically just to get Baycott the ball, something to make sure that he's getting to eat. So we're gonna just do a lot of play sets here that basically have no purpose other than to get Baycott open in a one-on-one. However, the help side comes over for a double, but we make them pay for the double team. And so, yeah, we'll have a lot. We run that set a lot, especially in the first half when Baycott's getting all those points. So yeah, and it works for RJ as well. Pick and roll here, and you just see RJ working off the pick and roll, and it's just so quick, and that's again where I said, like, it's going to be nice to go against NC State. I think we're going to execute off of this because of the fact that we practice against this type of play every day. So when you know what type of shots are coming and you know the plays and stuff like that, then you're at home. You're at home against that, and so it's just about who's executing those sets and who's executing that play style better. And I do believe that we have the talent and the coaching and everything above just to be the team that capitalizes off of it. So what do you guys think about the upcoming game? How are you feeling? Do you have any questions about any of these offensive sets? What do you think about the way that we're gonna play, and do you have any opinions on how we should approach this, any of the matchups? Let me know. Drop a comment, and as always, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown, and I'll be back either the first Duke game or the second. We'll see how things go, but I'll definitely get another one in against the big rivals. And until next time, this is East Nose signing out. Go Tar Heel Nation.